Have you ever wondered what the true cost of ambition really is? Well, today we're going to get into it. We're talking about the dramatic story of Roya, a woman who literally clawed her way out of poverty to get this incredible power. But as you'll see, the price she had to pay was way, way bigger than she could have ever guessed. Wow. I mean, this one quote, it just says it all, doesn't it? This perfectly captures who she is. See, for her, it wasn't just about getting out of poverty. Nope. It was about commanding respect. It was about making everyone who ever looked down on her finally look up. And not desire. That's the engine driving this whole crazy story. So we're going to follow her on this wild ride. We'll see her go from this super determined young woman to a really powerful wife. And then we'll see the tragic events that made her question literally everything she'd fought so hard for. It's a story of ambition, loss, and in the end, a total transformation. All right, so every story has to start somewhere. And for Roya, it all kicks off on a rainy morning. Just one single meeting, an encounter that opens a door to a world she wasn't just curious about, she was desperate to conquer it. Okay, so let's paint the picture. This is Roya at the very beginning. She's sharp, she's super driven, and her whole world kind of boils down to two things. One, build a better life for herself, and two, take care of her mom, Irada. So after this chance encounter with one of the company's presidents, a guy named Rasul, she actually lands a job at the big-time Caruza Corporation. And for her, you gotta understand this isn't just a paycheck. It's the first rung on the ladder out of the life she was so desperate to escape. So Raya thought she had it all figured out, a plan, a clear path to the top. But life almost never goes according to plan, does it? A really devastating family crisis is about to hit, and it's going to throw her ambitions into overdrive and force her to make a choice that will completely change her destiny forever. And just, boom, her whole world just falls apart. First, she gets this absolutely crushing diagnosis. Her mother has terminal brain cancer. Now, during this horrible, horrible time, it's actually Rasul's brother, Rashad, who's there for her, offering support. But then the worst happens. Her mother passes away. And in that moment, when she's at her most vulnerable, completely lost in grief, Rashad makes his move. He proposes. Think about it. For a woman who's suddenly all alone, with absolutely nothing, Rashad's proposal isn't some fairy tale moment. It's a lifeline. It's survival. But, and this is a huge but, this marriage was built on completely different foundations for both of them. It was a business deal, a union of convenience, and it was pretty much guaranteed to be a disaster from the get-go. And look at this. The motivations are just night and day, right? On one side, you have Rashad. He sees a beautiful woman he wants, and he calls it love. But Roya, for her, it's a cold, hard transaction. This has nothing to do with love. It's about survival. It's about finally getting that status she's been dreaming of her whole life. They weren't just on different pages. They were in completely different books. And just when you think the foundation of this marriage couldn't get any shakier, in walks the main villain of the story, Rashad's mother, Mariam. And with this one sentence, she just lays it all out there. Her position is crystal clear. To her, Roya is completely unacceptable, a stain on their perfect family name. The battle lines were drawn, folks, before they even said I do. So, on the surface, Roya got everything she wanted, right? The money, the status, the powerful last name. But it didn't take long for her to realize that her new life was just a golden cage. That respect she craved so badly? Nope. Nowhere to be found. Instead, all she got was scorn and this deep, hollowing emptiness. And man, the price of that ambition was high. First, she had to deal with a constant ridicule from her mother-in-law, Mariam, just nonstop mockery about where she came from. She felt like a total fraud in high society, trying so hard to fit into this world that was basically pushing her away at every turn. And then, the final blow, the ultimate betrayal. She finds out her husband, the guy who gave her this supposedly perfect life, is cheating on her. So this wasn't just some private matter. Oh, no. The whispers turned into a full-blown public spectacle. They're in a restaurant, right, in front of everyone, and Rashad's mistress, a woman named Sevinch, walks right up to their table and announces that she's pregnant with his child. Can you even imagine? In that single humiliating moment, Roya's entire world, that whole carefully built house of cards, it just completely collapsed. And this is where we have to pause and ask our really tough question. She got the wealth, she got the name, but look at the cost.
What good is all that power when your dignity is just ripped away from you in public like that?
You'd think things couldn't possibly get any more dramatic, right? Well, buckle up. The story is about to take a really dark, really violent turn. This whole tangled web of betrayal and revenge that's been spinning just beneath the surface, it's about to unravel in a way that leads to a truly tragic and shocking end.
And here it is. Rashad is found dead, murdered, shot 3 times on some lonely country road. His life just ends. And his death isn't just the end of his story. It's the violent end of a chapter for everyone and the shocking beginning of a whole new one.
So, who was the killer? You guessed it, his mistress, Sivinch. But, and here's the crazy part, her motive had nothing to do with their affair. It was about getting revenge for her sister, Rasmia. And, in a huge twist, Rasmia was actually Russell's old girlfriend who died tragically years before. Sivinch was convinced that Rashad was somehow responsible for her sister's death, so she took justice into her own hands. I mean, talk about a tangled, tragic mess of blame and revenge.
So after all of this, the public humiliation, the murder, all these insane revelations, Roya is left standing in the wreckage. But here's the thing. Instead of just crumbling, she starts to pick up the pieces and build something new. She starts to forge a new path for herself, and in doing so, she completely redefines what words like strength and status even mean to her.
So how does she move forward? Well, it happens in a few key steps. First, she gives birth to Rashad's son, Ilham, and that gives her a whole new purpose. Then, out of the blue, she gets an offer from Rasul, who's in America now. He offers her a job, a real fresh start. And in this final, incredibly powerful move, she accepts. She chooses to walk away from all the money and all the trauma that came with it. And really, this is what her entire journey has been building towards. Remember the woman who wanted everyone to call her Mrs. Roya? That woman is gone. She now understands that real status, it has nothing to do with fancy things or a powerful name. It's about finding inner peace. It's about self-respect. She finally rejects that golden cage she fought so hard to get into. And this quote from her just says it all. It perfectly captures how much she's changed. It's not about what she can get anymore. It's about what she needs to do to heal. The pain of that life, of that mansion, it's just too much. And she knows the only way forward is to leave every last bit of it behind. So, in the end, Roya's story leaves us with this huge question, doesn't it? She chased wealth, she got it, and all she found was misery. It was only when she walked away from it all that she found a real shot at peace. It really makes you think, what's the true measure of a successful life? Is it wealth or is it peace?